Hi, my name is Donna Judd, and I'm going to talk to you about Thanksgiving Day. I'm going to start out by asking two questions. Why do we eat turkey on this Thanksgiving Day, and why is it not a set day of the month like Christmas is December 25th? For the last 100 years, there's a standard meal menu for Thanksgiving Day, and it's usually turkey and dressing. I would like to tell you hopefully a couple interesting facts regarding this tradition known as Thanksgiving Day. I'm going to start by telling you first that according to history books, that the first Thanksgiving was actually held on December 4th, 1619, at the Berkeley Plantation on the James River. This is now known as Charles City, Virginia. This day was set aside for religious purposes and had no feasting involved at all. This day was for the 38 English settlers to give thanks to God for arriving on James River safely after their long voyage. There's also another account for the first Thanksgiving, and is in 1621 in the New England area with the Pilgrims. This is the one that most children or remember or are taught in schools about the first Thanksgiving on Plymouth Rock. We were taught that the Pilgrims arrived on Plymouth Rock on December 20th in 1620. When they made land, they were met with hostile natives, so they got back on their ship and set sail to go, and they went a little further south, and they made land on what is now called Cape Cod. This time when they got off the ship, they were met by friendlier natives. The harsh winter that year killed half of the original 102 voyagers. According to the records, in the spring of 1621, the Pilgrims were taught by Samoset of the Wanapog tribe and Squanto of the Paltex tribe how to plant corn. They also showed them how to catch what is called alewives, which is a species of herring fish. They then were showed how to use this alewives to fertilize their pumpkin crops and beans and their corn crops. They wanted to show their appreciation in the autumn to the Indians for their help giving them with their crops, and also to give thanks to God for their first year at their new land. So Governor William Bradford arranged for a harvest festival that year. He sent out 4 pilgrims to go fowling for duck and geese. The bird we know as turkey is not included in the first feast, but the word turkey is in the pilgrims' vocabulary because that's what they referred to any kind of wild fowl was turkey. So in a way, I guess turkey was included in the first feast. The harvest festival lasted about 3 days. The Indians it is written that the Indians did provide or brought venison to the festival. At the celebration, there were pilgrims and about 90 Indians from the eastern woodland tribes. The feast was said to include items as fish, berries, boiled pumpkin, watercress, leeks, lobster, dried fruit, clams, wild plums, and cornbread, along with turkey, not the turkey we know, but wild fowl, and venison. The celebration was the first Thanksgiving in the New England area that took place sometime between September 21st and November 9th of 1621. This was a one-time only celebration. It was not repeated the following year. It is believed that Thanksgiving in America might have been originated from England, according to Jeremy Banks, director of the leading American Pilgrim Museum. England had annual harvest home ceremonies. During these ceremonies, people gave thanks to God for blessing them with plentiful crops that season. Because of the harvest home ceremonies, it made a well-known tradition in America known as Thanksgiving Day. The reason behind the celebration has changed somewhat over the years. People still give thanks, but not usually for crops, unless of course you're a farmer. Over the years, this holiday has become a time for gathering for family and friends to get together and to eat. At these gatherings, there's scrumptious food and a chance for people, family, and friends to catch up, especially with the family or friends who maybe live out of town. Some families still gather at the table and give thanks for their food. They'll say a prayer before they eat. A lot of families routinely on a daily basis just eat in front of the television or on the go, but on this particular day they will sit around a table together and eat together. The main staple for the traditional Thanksgiving the turkey is still the main staple for the traditional Thanksgiving dinner. Even though it's not the same turkey that was at the original feast, there is still a turkey involved. The menu for the present day celebration usually include turkey and dressing or stuffing, depending where you're from, mashed potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce, and pumpkin pie. With the changing times, the sport of football has become a kind of a tradition for a lot of families. They'll watch football, they'll go out and play with their family or their nieces and nephews. Also, the morning of Thanksgiving, there's parades throughout America. And there's a very well-known one in New York City called Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. This parade, or this day, all the children across America get to see the arrival of Santa Claus. It's the beginning or the marking of the opening of the holiday season. In the United States, we celebrate this holiday on the fourth Thursday of every November. In 1863 is when the United States had a presidential proclamation by Abraham Lincoln to celebrate Thanksgiving on the same day across America. It wasn't until the 20th century that the United States started celebrating it the fourth Thursday of every November. President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed a bill into law with Congress in 1941, making Thanksgiving a national holiday and to be celebrated on the fourth Thursday of every November. There have been debates over where and when the first Thanksgiving was actually held. Author and teacher Robert Goya and Michael Gannon of the University of Florida have argued that the earliest attested Thanksgiving celebrated in what is now the United States was actually by the Spanish on September 8, 1565, what is now known as St. Augustine, Florida. There is another account that was codified in the founding charter of Berkeley Hundred in Charles City County, Virginia in 1619. Other historians have pointed out that the first Thanksgiving was in Virginia and not in Plymouth. Some traditions from the original Thanksgiving are still observed today. We gather together with family and friends to give thanks for our many blessings. The first Thanksgiving wasn't necessarily a gathering of family and friends, but they did gather together and give thanks for their many blessings also. Today, in the first observance, no matter what account you look at, there's been a food involved. Modern times, we have added parades to note the beginning of the holiday season. And of course, we can't forget about football games that are played by families and friends and professional athletes that day. Probably in the last decade, there has been another tradition handed down on this day, and that's been known as the day after Thanksgiving Day shopping. And it's better known as Black Friday, when people get up and go to the stores at 4 o'clock in the morning to catch the best deal in town for the holiday. Thank you very much.